What's up, Duke fans? Welcome to the Devil's Den Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Smith, joined my co-host, Raul and Shu. Happy to welcome back John Watson with us from the Devil's Den. We're going to do a little bit of BC talk here. Obviously, Duke beat BC 67-49 in Cameron. We're not going to bury the lead too much on y'all, folks. We're going to spend a lot of time here talking about the UNC matchup. I think that's where the excitement level is. But we can't skip ahead. We don't want to skip steps. Fellas, we'll talk about this one a little bit. I'll just go through a little brief run through here to kind of set us up. Start on a kill shot. Tagged Evan in the first tweet of the game here. Shouts to Evan. If you haven't listened to that podcast, go check that one out. Things were looking great. I mean, 5 guys on the string, according to Coach Scheyer there. Things were rolling. And then it's a pretty much an even game almost. Like the rest of the way, it was a little bit of a muck. It was played in the mud. Slim said that they might have kind of slept on him. Oh, he did. I mean, that maybe they didn't give him the credit. I don't think we did either, fellas. When Coach said that they had the number 1 defense in conference, I was like, oh, wait, I might not have picked up on that really when we were looking at it. But at the end of the day, it's a game where Duke never trails. You see a big game from Cam Booz again, 19-12, 5 steals. Probably the exclamation dunk is the biggest thing here. Fellas, let's jump in at the kill shot here. Duke goes up 13-0. Walk me through a little bit of kind of where you got. I'll go to you first for this one. I mean, it looked like we were about to go 30, 40, 50 here. Kind of fizzled out. Man,
yeah. I mean, look, like you said, kill shot from the start. Cam was hitting threes, doing everything. We were dunking everything, finding Malik, finding everybody. And then just for whatever reason, I don't know what went on in the second half. We just couldn't score. I think in the first half, we were like 91% in the first 10 minutes from the field. I think when I checked, we were like a 1.45 points per possession in the first half. That dwindled down all the way to 0.86 in the second. I mean, we just didn't put the ball in the basket. Now, look, our defense held them, under 50, which was a nice thing to see, holding somebody in the 40s in a conference game. But the second half, just for whatever reason, I don't know why we couldn't just put the ball in the basket.
Yeah, I thought we got, a lot of very easy baskets early. A lot of it was our defense, getting some steals and some runouts and stuff like that. I think we finished with 13 fast break points. I imagine most of those were in the first 10 minutes of the game or so, because then it just kind of slowed down from there. Overall, it was a good first half. You're leading 40-27 at the break. You feel good about that. You do that in the second half, you have a 30-point win, and, you're up in the 80s in terms of score. So you would feel fine about that. But just, the second half, I think, scored 25 total points. Couldn't, had some trouble finishing around the rim. Pat Gungba goes 2 of 5, which is pretty unusual for him. Even Cam had a few moments struggling to finish around the rim there too. To their credit, BC is a really good paint protecting team, and they have some size as well. So it was going to be a little bit of a difficult matchup for us in that regard. Just we haven't been shooting the 3 well, and we're really just doing all of our scoring in the paint. Our 3-point volume has also gone down in recent weeks, which is, I think kind of a good thing. But in this particular matchup, it definitely gave us a little bit of difficulty, and it would have been nice if we could have just, instead of hitting only 5 threes, maybe hit 7 or 8 or something, just to kind of loosen things up and spread things out.
Yeah, you might have mentioned it too. I think we were 0 for 7 in the second half from 3 there, right? And so it just, I don't know. I think a part of it when I was watching it is that we were like a little too unselfish a little bit. Like we were just patting out. I thought like, Cam, just go get it, dude. Like, or Slim, just go get it. Like you can get these guys one-on-one. That's not really how we play a ton, but I thought maybe in that matchup, it's like, hey, maybe you just kind of mash a button there and go get that. But, we were also maybe coming off some sickness here. There had been some reports of Dame and Caleb going through some stuff. So you kind of get that back. And hopefully you get well rested here. John, for you, man, you can jump in on the BC stuff too, but we hadn't had you on in a while. And I am just a little curious. It's not on our outline. Lots of chatter about Cam Boozer this year, right? And maybe not the type of chatter that you would think for a guy that's putting up these type of numbers. It's he's not AJ DeBonzer. He's not Darren Peterson. He lacks athleticism, yada, yada, whatever you want to put in it. puts an exclamation point on one at the end of the first half here. And just for you, Jon, just kind of talk a little bit, if you would, about, I mean, you've covered this kid for 4, 5, 6 years, and then now here he is at Duke, some of the kind of narrative going around. You surprised by any of that? Do you push back on any of that? Do you care?
I think it goes back to what, when we had Jeff Goodman on and some of the other guys. I mean, all the kid does is win, and he does it just by consistency. Like, the real issue, you mentioned DeBonza, you mentioned Peterson. The real reason is he's not Cooper Flagg. And this is kind of like a reverse Marvin Bagley situation, right? People forget how great Marvin Bagley was because you had Zion Williamson the next year. And it was just kind of like people just forget. And
yeah, sure.
You had Cooper, who was just this phenom. And he comes in, his game is loud, his game is flashy, all the hype, everything comes in. I think it's a little bit of Duke superstar fatigue in the national media, probably. But I mean, Raul was talking about it offline, and I agree with him. Cam's having a better season than Cooper did. Much better season if you look at it. And, he's just a really super high floor player who all he does is win. I don't think that is as sexy as everyone else thinks it is, but the reality is not only is he putting up insane numbers, he's producing in the clutch when Duke need. I mean, let's compare and contrast real quick. But last year, we all knew what was going to happen in crunch time, right? Like we knew it was going to go to Coop, and it was a clear out. Well, this year you had the Florida game. Cam is the decoy because he makes the right pass. He's always producing in the clutch, and he's always producing everywhere because he always makes the right read. I think Cooper's team was better around him talent-wise last year. And I think you could even make the argument that, if you switch Cam and Coop in years, I think last year's team may have gone undefeated with Cam. Just because the way, Cooper was amazing. Don't get me wrong. And honestly, if I was starting a team, I would take Cooper first. But just as a college basketball player, the way he makes everybody better, I just think it's really hard to not like him and to not just be huge on him. And, the national media is really missing some really special basketball from them this year. And I mean, Duke's 1 point from being 22-0 and playing a schedule that would make last year's kind of embarrassed, right? Like, I mean, we were all talking preseason, like, man, I hope they can get through the conference schedule with like maybe 2 or 3 losses, non-conference. I'm sorry. Here they are 21-1 and had, they not just had a complete meltdown against Texas Tech to lose by 1, 22-0. So, to answer the question, I think Cameron's probably having the best freshman season of any Duke freshman so far right now.
And trending maybe towards not like removing the qualifier freshman. Like it's
right.
Like, it's trending. Yeah. It's there. Like he's putting up the efficiency now. And I think you nailed it. Like to me, it's Cooper's like spectrum was so much bigger, right? But that then also allows for so much more to cover up because it can be way over here or he can take you way out here. Whereas Cam's might be a little bit more compact, but his ownership of it is just at such a level. Like the reads that he's making, what he's doing on the ball, off the ball, like that dunk. Also, the dunk was one thing, but shouts to C. Foss for a hell of a screen, man, or a pick on some of those too. Geisinger even mentioned Slim. He gave it a little nod to Slim in the post game too on their screen. So where he's getting some help. He's getting some help. I get that, but the dude is putting up just insane numbers. And I mean, I don't know how many more times Rob Doster has to ask, is Duke getting enough respect? And if they're underrated, maybe that is the attention now. Like I guess at a certain time that just becomes the hype a little bit. But yeah, man, Boozer's been special.
I like Jon's point about, if you swap the players out. I was thinking about this earlier today. Cooper goes down in the ACC tournament Duke goes on to win the ACC tournament. If Cam goes down in the ACC tournament, are they even winning a game? Maybe that first game, but
that's a good question.
Just the level of teammates around them is just clear when you think about like removing them entirely and what it would look like. This team would struggle mightily without Cam.
Coop is playing alongside the co-NBA Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Right. Like, let's put
that's the big difference there, right?
That's like AD playing with,
and then you think about how good Tyrese and Sion were as well.
Yeah, and what you got from that, and so it was just a different beast last year a little bit too. But wanted to give a little bit of flowers to Boozer. You mentioned too, John, the winning accolades, and I wanted to at least acknowledge y'all. This is the back-to-back 10-0 starts in conference play. Now I know the conference is the conference, especially last year. Last year the conference was the conference. I get it, but that's still like insanely impressive to me, man. Like it deserves its own credence. And maybe to me, it's not so much as Duke flying under the radar. It's Scheyer that's flying under the radar, man, that just continually kind of gets disrespected on some of this stuff. To do that with a completely different starting five, completely different landscape. I mean, how impressed are y'all? I don't think that me as a fan, like I've really like appreciated that enough.
I mean, well,
go ahead.
For me, I mean, the haters would say, well, he's got the best talent and he's got this and he's got that, the payroll, whatever it is. Well,
so did Cal and Kay and everyone else.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Dean Smith for however long rolled out and McDonald out there. I mean, Michael Jordan, James Worthy on the same
as
team,
juniors.
Yeah. They got one of his two, so it's not easy to do, especially in winning a title. I mean, a single game elimination tournament. But yeah, just impressed with John. I mean, you got to be able to coach the guys. You got to be able to meld their egos together and do what you got to do. And I mean, obviously, like just running good stuff. I mean, think about the after timeouts, baseline out of bounds. Like I feel like we score, and I'm sure Evan Mia has a stat for this, but I feel like we score 90% of those after timeouts, baseline out of bounds, stuff like that. Like we just run good stuff.
We're number one in the conference in that. Actually, I saw a tweet the other day that broke it down by conference, and Duke is far ahead there. And then it's other great coaches that you would expect in the other conferences, like Bill Self is amazing at it, for example. But we're way ahead on the graph there.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, just going to your point, people talk about Scheyer being, to Dustin's point, having haters and this, that, and the other. I'd start with, well, whose job is it to recruit the players?
Yep.
And okay, fine. You got you have all the stuff Krzyzewski set up, but we've seen in other schools, when the legend leaves, the stage can get a lot smaller. And I would argue that Sheyer's actually been more consistent than Kay was at the end of his career. I mean, we're talking, you had the first year in the round of 32, you lose to Tennessee when Tyrese gets hurt. Second year, completely, your roster comes back, but you've lost certain players. You're 11 minutes from the Final Four. Mm-hmm. Last year, you make the Final Four. You probably should have won it because I still think that was the best team in the country. Mm-hmm. You lose your entire roster again, and Duke's in the top 5 again this year. And probably a favorite to make the Final Four again. He's doing this not only, and people go, well, it's the transfer portal. Duke doesn't play that game. Duke's doing this with freshmen.
Yeah.
And it's, now don't get me wrong. I mean, Cam Boozer, Cooper Flagg, Con Knippel, those are elite freshmen. I mean, generational freshmen, but they're still freshmen. They're 18 and 19 years old playing against 23 and 24-year-olds. It's, it's impressive what he's done. And I would also argue that, no disrespect to Coach Krzyzewski, but I mean, I can't picture a world where he would go through and redo his entire coaching roster outside the family to address specific needs. Like you get Dildy, you get Evan Brads, you bring back Tyler Thornton. Yes. But I mean, he's not been afraid to do what needs to be done to not only keep the program where it is, but to continue to grow and innovate. And I just think it's, one thing Rob said on his on Field of 68 the other day, which I agree with, is Scheyer may get an NBA job at some point, but if he wants to be at Duke for 40 years, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And, Duke fans should understand how incredibly lucky they are to have this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it does make you question like what he would even have to do to win Coach of the Year. Like, does he have to just recruit worse for a year and then overachieve with subpar talent, or does he have to go undefeated? Like, what is the path here? Because he's not even in discussions right now, and people are in discussions. You're like, what? Like, I saw a list and had Bill Self
on their
on
top
it.
10, dude.
Yeah, it had Bill Self on it. I'm like, why?
Forget National Coach of the Year. What about ACC Coach of the Year?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
he went 19-1.
He needs them to be better.
Yeah.
Right. He needs a Virginia or a Carolina to be predicted to finish first or so, or like at least contend with you, probably, for him to even. He'd have to go undefeated. He could go undefeated, and I don't even know if he would still get it, dude. Like, maybe
he'd have to lose. He'd have to lose like Gungba and Evans and everybody kind of coming into next year and not land Jordan Smith and come in with like relatively low expectations and then just sweep the league or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
man.
I just don't like how it's all done by media perception, right? Like, I mean,
Exactly.
You don't get any credit for Con Knippel being, maybe
not
the
a
best
McDonald's
rookie.
All-American.
It wasn't a McDonald's. He was the 17th, 18th ranked player, in his class. No, it's not. What was the kid that went to Kentucky that was like 90th and then became Reed? When that
Reed Shepherd.
Yeah.
Reed Shepherd. So, I mean, but it's still same kind of, same path.
McCain as well was like,
Sure.
25-ish.
23rd, 24th.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just want to give Jon some flowers.
And even with Duke entering this season, Duke wasn't projected as like one of the 2 or 3 best teams. They were consistently like ranked like 7th to 9th, right?
Yeah, like
yes.
8th, somewhere like that.
Yeah, but to John's point, we're always going to be predicted to win the ACC. It seems like
that's true. Yeah,
for
There's
10
just-
years.
We'll need the other surrounding members to. Really
He's almost
threaten.
inherently disqualified because, he coaches Duke. And, the reality is, yes, he coaches Duke, but he took over for, probably the greatest coach to coach college basketball. And he's been better.
Yep.
And it's like, at what point do we sit there and go, it's, yes, he's getting the results, but sustained excellence is still excellence.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
like I said, but then again, when did Krzyzewski win his last coach of the year? Wasn't it like 2000 or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
it was kind of like after Coach K like left with the back injury, and then there was a couple down years after they got back, and then when they were able to rise back to being Duke again, that's when he won. Probably the 98 maybe.
99.
Something like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, shouts to Jon, man. Hopefully we keep him around for a long time here. But all right, fellas, I think we spent enough time on this one. So let's take a little quick break here. We'll come back and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes. We'll get into the UNC preview before we get out of here. So let's take 5, come back, pay the bills. All right, fellas. So let's get into this thing, right? It's rivalry week. It's round 1 of this thing. Coming off a 3-0 sweep last year. So you got the Royal sweep last year. You don't get many of those. Don't get many of those at all. It had been a while. Different year, different season. We just talked about the roster flips for both teams here, really. Scheyer comes in 5-2 against Hubert, which hopefully we're not trending on something. So his 5-2 is kind of predicated around sweeps a little bit. So sweeps year 1, get swept year 2, 3-0s them in year 3. Here we come in year 4. We'll see what happens, fellas. So let's get into it a little bit. UNC's won 4 straight after kind of faltering a little bit. They went out west, went 0-2. We went out west, went 2-0. So that was really cool. But since then, they've got some decent wins. I mean, the Virginia win at Virginia to me was really impressive. They did blow a major lead last night against Syracuse. So there's tons of talking points that we can jump in. But just kind of off the top here, fellas, Shu, I'll give it to you because I know you probably watched the most of these guys. Give me a little bit of rundown from you. This isn't last year's UNC. I get it. Where are you at with this squad, man? Are they computer trickers? You believing in them? They good? They great? Where are you at?
Well, I think everybody knows their front court's their strength, just much like ours, right? Like everybody knows Caleb Wilson and Vessar are. I think since the West Coast trip, they made a lineup change, not playing Kai and Evans as much. Put Derek Dixon, I believe, is the freshman that's starting at point guard for them, and Jaden Young, the transfer from Virginia Tech, also stepped in their lineup. So they've switched some things up. They still got Stevenson from Alabama that I think he was starting earlier. Now he's coming off the bench. But, they've played better. They're trending up in the right direction for them. But I think, the front court's our team and their team's a wash. It's going to come down to backcourt play. And I take our guys. I take, Caleb's been great. He's going to play defense. Hopefully we get a little something out of Evans, one of that kind of moment against Carolina that we've been waiting for him. So I'm hoping to see that.
Yeah.
I guess one other thing I would mention is this is kind of odd. Normally they've had the advantage in experience in rivalry. I think Trimble's the only one that's played in the rivalry for them, right? So we're bringing back Malik, Evans, Caleb. So we have a little bit more experience in the rivalry than they do for the first time in a while.
So if you're kind of counting, if you're a UNC fan and you're kind of counting on the team to be riled up because they went 0-3 last year, you're really only talking about Seth Trimble there.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I guess, obviously some of these guys are fans of UNC before they join the team, maybe, and they're, looking
and they feel
to
ownership of the
exactly.
program, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Right. Like there's a
we saw Caleb Wilson over the offseason, he clearly wants to win this game.
He's on some talking. Yeah. He is maybe in a position to own it a little bit more than Ian Jackson and those guys did last year.
Exactly.
Right? They did talking to, and that didn't work out very well. But
he has the play to back it up. I think Shu nailed it. Talking about the lineup change here, the Dixon's substitution for Evans has just been huge for them. He actually started playing big minutes in the Cal game. Now they lost that game, but he was like plus 20 or something, and Evans was like negative 11. It was just clear they needed to make that change. And since then, he's averaging almost 30 minutes a game. He's shooting 46% from 3, not shooting well from 2, but 46% on 4.8 attempts, averaging 10 points a game, 3.6 assists, 1.6 turnovers. And that's, a 5-game stretch in which they're 4-1. So for me, that's been the big thing that's kind of turned their season around. He's not going to go off and give you 20, but he's going to give you steady play and he can make shots.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe you've kind of already ran through some of it, but just real quick, y'all, I will kind of just go through a little bit of the roster since there is some turnover. Yeah. We've mentioned Caleb Wilson. Most people are going to be pretty familiar with him. He's kind of right there, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th pick in the draft. Put that where you are. Top 4 on KenPom. So he's there. He's a dude. He's a stud, NBA talent. Vessar, we're also really familiar with, right? So for y'all, if you haven't tapped in too much to what Carolina's doing, he played for Arizona last year, so Duke matched up with those guys twice. I think he was with AZ the year before that when they beat us with Caleb Love. Can't have to double check that, but sounds like that was
should have been.
Yeah, so you got Trimble coming back, but outside of that, you're right, man. Zayden High was there, but they got the international kid, Luka.
I don't think Zayden High was even there last year. Was he off the team last year?
Maybe he was. Maybe you're right. Maybe he was off. You got Kai Evans, the kid from Colorado State that came over. And then, Derek Dixon, and then the Stevenson kid. I keep calling these guys kids, man. I'm sorry, they're grown men now. But from Alabama that comes in, you should also be. Maybe you're not super familiar with him. He really didn't have a whole lot to say in the game that Duke played last year, but not many of those dudes did in that game last year. So a few newcomers to this. I like where you're at, Raul. To me, the Derek Dixon is the, I don't know if you want to call it an X factor, but the kid's 6'5". I mean, and you got to think that's probably going to be Foster's matchup there, right? Like just unless Caden draws the start here. But I like that 6'5" on their backcourt there coming in. They got a few other dudes that I didn't quite mention, but I think we've tapped into their main guys here. I don't want to gloss over the front court. I think we probably should spend a bit more time there. Jon, for you, we've mentioned the 2-point stuff so that they're elite. The 2-point defense offense dynamic here, right? Is Duke's interior paint scoring going to prevail? Is Carolina's rim defense going to show up in a massive way here? I'm just a little curious, Jon, if Jon was Jon, who do you put on these guys? Like, are you going Cam on Caleb, or are you trying to save him maybe for the other end and having him match up with Vessar? Like, where are you at kind of in that matchup? Do you start Malik over Pat? I don't know. Where you at?
I think you'll see a lot of Malik Brown.
Yeah, he's the guy. Yeah.
I kind of wonder, do they not go extended periods with the three bigs, right? So you put Malik Brown on Caleb Wilson. Vessar, I think Gungba can match up with him pretty well. That leaves Cam trying to check, some of their, I guess, almost a wing at times. But
they'll play Stevenson they'll play Stevenson. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so, to your point, Duke is a top 4 2-point percentage offense. Carolina's number 5 in 2-point percentage defense. They don't block a lot of shots, though. And so, I'm thinking of from a defensive standpoint, which would be, if Vessar is going to step out and he can knock down long range shots. Cam has had problems with closeouts this year. Now he's not going to put it on the ground. Now, if you put him on Wilson's going to face him up and go around him. And then you have to worry about strong finishes at the rim or, heaven forbid, foul trouble.
Yeah. That's the one thing you cannot.
Yeah, it is the one.
Right. You guys brought it up earlier. What happens if you take Cam off of this team? Well, I don't want to find that out Saturday because
especially considering he's never been in foul trouble. Like,
the Michigan State game, I think he was in foul trouble. But
that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's fair.
But I think Malik Brown could be really useful against Caleb Wilson. But if he's in, like I said, then you can't take Cameron Boozer off the court in this game. You just can't. Can Boozer guard Vessar? Yeah, I think he can. But again, I kind of worry too. If he is taken off the court, what's going to happen? Is Vessar going to step out and shoot threes? And then, I don't know. That's what I'm looking at. On the flip side, I don't think any of them can guard Boozer inside. I think he can continually score inside. So.
Yeah, he's seen front courts. We played Florida, right? So you go up against Condon and Chinwood. So if you can score in those guys, we've played big guys in Arkansas. Like we've been against some dudes. I'm with you. I'm not super concerned.
Boozer and Caleb Wilson played together for the
Night Riders.
The Night Riders, yeah. So they're familiar with one another.
Oh yeah.
And if there's one place that Caleb Wilson really struggles, it is on the defensive end. No, I was going to say defensively, like just with some of his rotations and stuff like that. So
I was going to say the Vessar and Wilson are inverses. Like Vessar likes, I won't say he likes to shoot threes, but he can shoot threes really well. He's really good inside too. But Wilson, I think that's why I like Malik to guard Wilson and just kind of make him frustrated because he'll take a lot of turnaround fadeaway shots because he's got the confidence he can make them.
I just worry about, Malik at times has been foul prone, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so, especially trying to get deflections and all that kind of stuff. I wonder about that. I really think, I think the Duke front court will be okay. In fact, I think they'll be effective. Because didn't Gungba just pretty much like eat Vessar alive last year? When they played. But again, that was, Vessar was off the bench last year.
So was Pat.
He's been a starter. He's on a completely different level this year, but so is Gungba.
Yeah.
I think the real questions, like I said, it's going to be that second front court spot. So on the wing, who's going to play? Is it Dame Sarr? Because I think he can be. It may even be Dame Sarr on Caleb Wilson.
Now we're talking.
Because Sarr is what 6'7", 6'8". Wilson's 6'9". Both super athletic.
Wilson's probably got some weight on him though. I'm guessing, right?
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
it does. But
that's my follow up though. If this Dame's in there, do we switch more? Because we had went away from switching, but we've started to kind of like get back into it a little bit more. Like we've reintegrated that a little bit. So do y'all see Jon doing a lot of switching on here? Or do you think that he's going to want to, y'all stay home on these guards. I'm more worried about the back picks, the down, all the like lob stuff.
Yeah, the guards aren't very threatening. So like,
Right.
do you really need to be switching screens on them? Like,
No,
I just don't know. Like, again, I brought up that Dixon is shooting really well from 3 recently. The volume is not amazing, but it's not terrible either. But you just, I don't know that if their guards end up beating you instead of their front court, I think you kind of just have to live with that, right? Like if you can hold, if you hold down the front court,
off ball. Yeah. You got to switch off ball, not like up on the top of like if we're doing any switching, I'm hoping it's going to be baseline stuff, post stuff, because that's where a lot of their
we don't want to give them easy.
They do those pick and pops, Vessar catches, and then Caleb's sprinting, or he's coming around, or he's getting a back pick for a lob on the weak side. Like that's what you got to switch that. You got to call that. You got to figure that out. But I'm with you, man. Just if Derek Dixon and Trimble just kill you from there, you just let it. Yeah, I guess that's just what happens, man, a little bit. But I do hope that we autocorrect back because we've given bigs open threes. Like that's just kind of been a
lot.
We've been okay with that. With Khalifa, and he's lived and he's owned it. John's like, look, I gotta live with something here. That's
Hansberry as well.
Yeah, like that's what we've done. Vessar's at almost damn near 50%, y'all. Like he's 46% from there. I don't want this dude taking 8, 7, 8, 9, 10 like open threes, really. But maybe you have to live with. I don't know.
That's where I think Cam has to strike a better balance. Like I think he's following the defensive assignment, right? That Scheyer's giving him to sag way off, the bigs, on the perimeter there. But you got to at least close out a little bit. Right
on him,
yeah. I mean, because even on Hansberry, it's just like he was half closing out, but Hansberry was having like 5-6 feet of open space to shoot. And it's like if you're a competent college shooter, that's like even if you're not amazing, you're going to knock those shots down.
I know, and it's just it's just the way the game plays, right? Like Caleb Wilson, he's made 6 threes all year. Dude's probably hit 3 Saturday. Like it's just
if you give him like a warm up 3, I bet you he can make it. Right? Dwight Howard can make a corner 3 if you give him.
Don't let him hit like the first shot of the game. Just be like a walk up practice 3, right? Like that would not be great. But man, I like the Dame. I like putting Dame in there.
I guess it just depends on where they're trying to
dig down or whatever. But
where they're trying to give Caleb the ball. Like if they're trying to post him up, like Dame might have a tough time with him if he's catching it on the low block already. But if Dame's guarding him and he's trying to make a move from the perimeter, then I like Dame's chances there.
I mean, do you think they double Cam? Sorry to cut you off.
I mean, it's not wise to because he just picks you apart with his passing. But I mean, they can't stop him either. They're going to have to give up one. I mean, you can't have both.
Well, they also cannot defend the 3-point line. Now, granted, Duke's not a great shooting team. But I mean, their opponents are shooting like 42%.
Yeah, they're in the red. Yeah,
I mean, in conference games. And honestly, I think that we've talked about it, but this could be the game where Evans just goes nuts, or does Femenia finally hit some corner threes? Does Sarr finally find the range? I mean, if either one of those happen, or even Foster. I think Duke starts pulling away with that because it'll start. Duke's ball movement is going to give them open looks.
Yeah.
The question is, can they knock them down? Because in conference play, like we talked about, I mean, Duke's not really shooting well. Their volume has gone way, way down.
Yep.
But I mean, like right now. I mean, they're down to like 40% of their attempts in conference play or 3-pointers was much higher than that previous.
Yeah, it was like 48% or something.
Yeah, and they're only shooting 32% from 3.
Yeah.
So, it kind of goes both ways. Whichever team's going to all of a sudden find their range, like you sometimes see in these weird rivalry games, probably the team is going to win.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to lean back into the perimeter shooting just a little bit in this one. I think more like high ball screens for Foster, more flare screens for Evans, things like that. Because if you've noticed, especially in the last like 4 or 5 games, the offense has been almost entirely a big man at the top of the key, looking to create for the other big or looking to hit guards on back cuts and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
And I think in this game, with UNC's guards being so defensively challenged, you're going to want to put them in ball screen action, get a guy like Caleb going downhill and kicking to the corners. That's kind of my impression there, because if you're just having, Pat at the top of the key looking to pass into Cam, I think that's something that UNC can defend just a little bit better because their bigs are competent defenders.
Is this a Caden game? It sounds like
Maybe.
it could be because he's the one that can probe on you a little bit, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so if he can start to, it could be Caleb. If we get good, engaged downhill, aggressive Caleb,
You never know with him.
I don't think.
But if not,
I don't think
man,
at least
you
with
might need Caden.
Well, I would say I don't think with Caden that he would be outmatched by anybody. Carolina.
That's my thing, right? Like if you can't kind of check on Dixon or kind a little bit, like
Yeah, I mean, I think Caden's defense has improved throughout the year, but I also think it's definitely not going to be a liability in this game to me.
It shouldn't.
Yeah.
Right? It shouldn't.
Because to me, that's been where Caleb and Caden's minutes are going back and forth, right? You see some games that Caden will play like 25. The next game, this last game, in fact, Foster played 29. Caden plays like 14 or whatever. It just seems to be like based on what Scheyer feels is the better defensive matchup. I think both of them should be able to hold their own there. So I think go with the guy who's getting into the lane and putting their guards into precarious situations more.
Yeah. What do y'all think of the tempo? Like, that's something that I'm kind of curious about too, because Carolina's kind of trending like they've like, all right, we want to play faster. Duke has been like, oh, we're actually going to slow hours. Like, we're going to get into we had a 58 possession game, a 61 possession game, like 65.
Yeah, we
after being like in
way
the 70s
down, way
for a long
down.
time.
Well, we saw. I forgot what game it was that we had made that intentional. Even the guys talked about on the podcast, like John wants us to go faster, and we just turned it over like 13 times in the first.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying like, now the styles are starting, especially if you look in the conference. I think they're the number 2 tempo, and we're like almost dead last, like we're 12th or 13th. So
I think this is an advantage for us because it's always easier to just slow a game down than the speed one up.
I agree.
That's fair. Got to get back though. Got to get back.
Yeah.
No, here's the thing. Like I don't want to be turning the ball over, like live turnovers, pick sixes for Trimble to just get,
Caleb lobs or off glass. Just
we don't want to just give up easy fast break dunks. It's going to get the crowd going. Obviously this is at the Dean Dome. We 3-pieced them last year. These guys are going to want this. Like it's going to be loud in there. It's going to be rowdy. Some of our guys haven't played in it. A few of them have, but like I said earlier, none of their guys besides Trimble have really experienced this either. So who knows how that plays out for the players themselves.
Yeah, I think I agree with that, man.
I was just going to say we've clearly improved defensively since we slowed it down, right? That's to me been the main source of our defensive improvement. So you look, we had 6 games in a row over 70 possessions. We allowed at least 73 points in all of those games. Since then, we've had our highest possession game was 65 possessions. We've allowed 69 points once. Every other game was under 60. So, even adjusting for the tempo there, I think slowing it down. I think we've seen this from Scheyer over the years. Like he might theoretically want Duke to play faster, but the team seems to play better and to play better defense when we play a little bit slower. Maybe that is the 2010 kind of blueprint coming through.
I agree. And fellas, I want to move into some quick hitter stuff to make it a little bit fun here. But before we do, there's something that you mentioned earlier, Raul, that I think we should at least bring into the light a little bit for this. And it's the average 2-point distance that Carolina is getting right now. And so it's not just their 2-point defense, it's that they're keeping teams out of the rim, like out of the paint area, right? And so they're forcing you to take a lot of mid-range shots. Clearly Duke does not take mid-range shots, y'all. So outside of like Slim kind of dipping into the bag, and even that's like what he's taken like 3 in the last 4 games or something, right? He just made them all and it looked cool. But we don't do that. Cam has taken a few and like he made one or against Virginia, but it's not something that we typically do. We don't like to operate that way. How do you think Duke continues to attack that? And to me, I'll just I think that part of it is just over the course of the last like 3 or 4 weeks, because we've really changed about how we're like finding the post. We're doing a lot of quicker stuff. Sometimes we're just kind of setting Cam and loading him up. Sometimes we're doing high lows. So we have a few different kind of looks here. But do you have anything to kind of like, ooh, how do you combat that? Like, I guess if you're in the coach's seat, what are you kind of thinking or picking on to how do we get rim? I mean, that's the $1 million question, right? I mean, like, how do you get to but that to me, it's
I mean, I don't know how we do it, but I don't think you shy away from it because I don't know how this game is going to be officiated, but I think you just go into Wilson and Vessar's chest, because they have nobody behind them.
Yeah,
like their depth in the front court, for as good as their front court is, that's all it is. Yeah, because I don't think Carolina fans want Zayden High or James Brown playing many minutes in this game. It's probably going to be bad news for them.
Probably not.
I mean, I feel like the refs in these games usually do a pretty good job of not having a super tight whistle.
Jamie told us that pretty much, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was kind of their objective in that last, Coach K game in Cameron, but I would imagine that kind of applies across the board, right? Like the main outlier I can think of is the Final Four in 2022, where I don't remember who the refs were in that game, but I'm guessing they weren't ACC refs, right? So I feel like ACC refs tend to understand the magnitude of this game and kind of want to keep guys on the floor. Now, there's a couple of examples I can think of over the years. I think 2015 wasn't Winslow in foul trouble in the second game there, maybe. I want to say I think Okafor in the first game was in foul trouble, but Okafor was frequently in foul trouble, so that's maybe not the best example. But so you get that from time to time, but not things that really impact the flow of the game. I tend to think this is like one of the better officiated games of the year versus like when we go to Wake Forest, for example, you can count on half the team.
Yeah. No, that's a good. I agree with that. I think that's fair.
I was going to say if somebody fouls out, it's going to be Malik Brown, and it's going to be with like 4 minutes to go.
Yeah, or
Dame
technicals or something crazy because there's
something like that. I mean, they're not.
Juice.
There is zero chance Caleb Wilson fouls out. There's zero chance that Vessar fouls out. It's just not going to happen. So Duke needs to. Going back to Raul's example, we need to avoid the Mark Williams in the Final Four situation where he's got 2 fouls in 3 minutes and completely changes the game. And that's going to be on Duke though, because there are times where Malik Brown does reach trying to get the deflection. There are times where Gungba just commits a bad foul. I mean, just does.
Yeah.
And if they start getting into it, then that's where I do think Duke is better equipped to deal with early foul trouble than they are in the front court anyway.
That's true. Yep. Yeah, having Malik and being able to play Dame down there or Nick too, like that gives you a little bit of freedom.
Because if Vessar gets in foul trouble, they're screwed in a way that Duke is not. I don't know.
What he opens up for them, like how he unlocks Caleb too, like being on the floor together, and so there's some stuff there, fellas. Let's get into some kind of quick hitter topics here as we kind of round this thing out a little bit. So I teased it a little bit earlier. What's going to be the biggest surprise to you? So is there going to be like what walk-on hits 2 threes, or like what do you have for this? It could be either side. It could be a UNC thing or a Duke thing. Do you have a surprise kind of pick for me? Obviously, these are going to be wildly inaccurate, but whatever.
I think Amenya is going to have a good game. I don't know why. I just he has that like toughness to me that I just don't think he's going to be scared.
Believe in here with something. Here with something. Yeah, I like it.
That was going to be mine as well. I think Nick is just he's due. He's got that game that's just it's not flashy, but it's just hustle plays, and he's going to make some sort of like hustle rebound or jumping out of bounds and throwing it off somebody, or getting a steal or getting a tough rebound and then drawing a foul. It's going to be something. And then my second would be is Caleb Foster's finally going to have a good game against North Carolina, because his career he's not had anything close to that. as we know, last year he fell off a cliff. And then the first year he played solid minutes as a reserve. But then he couldn't play in the second game because he was hurt.
Yeah.
So I think this is finally his time to do something, and I'd love to say this is going to be the big Isaiah game, where he just starts feeling. He has the Auburn game in the Teague Dome, and my only concern with him is that he's going to force to try to have that game, just because. Guy, if he knocks down one or two, he's gonna go nuts with the crowd and everything else.
Yeah, if it's like the first two, it's gonna be something.
His third one will be like a 38-foot, just
God, I hope he hits it. I hope he just hits it too, and it's just like, oh God, we were so due for just.
Well, that's my pick. I mean, that's my. I don't know if it's really a surprise, but I mean. They're giving up almost 50% from three. I'm sure he's looking at it like, well, yeah, hold my beer here. Watch this.
I mean, he was my X Factor pick. We had like X Factors on the outline. To me, he hasn't really had his big UNC moment, right? And he feels like the kind of guy who should make an impact on this rivalry at some point. He's probably
a little bit in the championship game last year. A little.
That's true.
Yeah,
a little
bit.
He
did have a little moment in the second. He had a little.
He threw that alley to Pat, and then he had the hype after old boy.
Scoreless in the two games prior to that too, right?
Yeah, so he didn't score a lot in any of them. I don't think.
Right.
No. But he was super hype on that lane violation.
Yes, exactly. Super hype.
Yeah. So
he's had his moment. That's his moment.
After Duke blew a 20-point lead. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, for me, I teased it a little bit earlier. It's going to be Caden. To me, like I think after this game, we're going to when we come back and do the preview, the reaction. It's going to be we're going to talk about Caden.
Yeah, he has that kind of.
He's got the verb for it.
He's got the Tyus Trey kind of thing of like.
Yeah, he's got the pedigree, man. He's just the pedigree's there. I don't think he's going to be rattled. I could really see us like struggling to get into what we want to do, and at a certain point, just having to mash like Caden Pat, Caden Cam, high ball screen. Let's get into it. Let's get downhill, spray into Slim or whatever. But yeah.
Well, Josh, you mentioned the average 2-point distance. Like, what is Caden best at? Those little floaters, right?
And probing and just like, dude, his rim finishing.
Those are going to be open.
Yeah, man. I think Caden could have a little bit of a moment here of an impact here. So yeah, I'll go with him. We've talked the next one I had on here was X Factors. I don't know if that's much different than
it's not. Yeah, really.
What we've really talked about, y'all. So I'm not gonna go. I mean, obviously Cam's an X Factor, right? Like anybody can be. I'm not gonna do that. We did surprises.
Malik would be my X Factor. He hit the 2 threes that really separated us in the dome last year, and this year he's going to be.
Malik's variability sometimes can be like he can be just like incredible where he's scoring like 8 to 10 points on 4 or 5 shooting or something, or he can be like really good and just be a plus defender, right? So that's a good one if you get that version.
You think about last year, you would give him the ball and he wouldn't even look at the rim, Now, like he's getting to the dunker spot, Cam is finding everybody's.
Well, him and Cam have some insane chemistry on those wraparounds and stuff like that.
The lobs too,
they've got some good stuff going.
I mean, I could say Dame could be an X factor too, just because I feel like after Dame being pretty sensational for a little stretch there, he's kind of fallen off in the last couple games. I know part of that was sickness, maybe, but if Dame can have a good Dame game, where he doesn't cough the ball up in transition, he makes a corner 3 or 2, and he just has a huge defensive impact and just completely takes one of their players out of the game, whoever that is, right? Mm-hmm. Then that can just completely flip the game for you. If Dame's like on Caleb Wilson and Caleb Wilson goes 7 of 19 or something, then Duke wins easily.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. So let's go to another one. And we do this one kind of every year too, y'all, but I think it's a good one to just kind of throw in there. Give me your favorite game moment. Let's do game at the Dean Dome.
Besides the obvious?
Well, if that's your favorite, that's your favorite. It's not my favorite, but you can take it.
Okay.
Well, go ahead. Call it out.
I mean, I'll just go recent.
If you know it, go ahead. Go ahead.
I like last year watching Coop and Con. Thanks for coming out, guys, or what? They were being like really.
Guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, thanks, guys.
That's a good one. Yeah. That's your favorite though? You gonna go that recent?
I'll just go with that.
Oh, okay. All right.
I've thrown out the buzzer beater.
It is and it isn't. Whatever.
I mean, the obvious was 2012. Was that what you were going to say?
Yeah, I would
the river
for
shot.
most people.
Yeah,
the river shot. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of good options. I feel like the 2021 would have been better if Duke shouldn't have won that game by like 25, and then somehow we're in a
Me and you were so pissed off watching that game, dude.
Yeah.
I drove home mad after a win. I drove home mad after a win.
I mean, it's a miracle win, right? But one that I really like is I'll just throw it out as an alternative was 2016, just because Duke was not supposed to win that game at all.
Block?
Yep.
Tyler Thornton block, Bryce Johnson or Bryce
Derek
Johnson.
Derek Thornton, the worst Thornton, not
not Tyler,
the great Thornton. I mean, also I think Duke had some serious foul trouble in the second half there, or maybe there was an injury. I can't remember what happened. Was that the game where Matt Jones left injured or something?
Yeah, we had a lot of injuries in that. Matt, tore his ankle.
Played on a broke ankle.
We played 5 guys the entire second half.
Brandon
Carolina
Grayson
was favored by like a lot.
Minutes. We had 3 guys play 40 minutes that game too. It was crazy.
Grayson throws the ball up in the air.
That right in front of Rashid and or Rashid and Jameson are like.
Yeah, Luke was not a great freshman, but hit some just nail threes from the corner out there in that one too. So we won't get too far into the weeds on it, but that's a good one. John, somebody's got to go deeper in the archives with me, y'all. I'm going like 25 years ago. Like, somebody go deeper.
Okay. So I'll give you a couple for different reasons. 2004 with Duhan?
That's the one. Duhan
reverse. Yeah,
the reverse layup.
That was the first one I was thinking of, but I didn't know y'all were going back that far.
We could talk about the Trey Jones one where
double buzzer beater.
The double buzzer
beater with Wendell Moore through buzzer. One of the ones that sticks out to me is 1999, where it had been Carolina for so long. Coach K had
coming
the
off
back
a Final
injuries,
Four.
whatever else. Yeah, and they're all that, and Maggette does the chin up on the rim.
On the rim.
I mean, he broke Chris Lang's ankles. I mean, he went right across Chris Lang over, and then took one step, rose up, and then did the chin up and pull up and slapped the backboard, and they pan over to K, and he's got this grin on his face, like he's smirking.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like it's getting ready to turn. And that to me, that was sort of kind of like a line in the sand of I'm done with this. And that was just because at that point, the next year they get Jason Williams, they get, Carlos Boozer to come in. It just, that one always stuck out to me because, growing up in North Carolina, it was always UNC because you had Dean Smith, you had, Jameson, Carter, all those guys. And it just on and on and on. And then that was just the year, though, where, Duke just came in and bullied those guys. And then when Maggette did that, it was, and then just the perfect moment where they get Case smirking, it was just kind of like, all right, it's go time now. So that was good. There's a couple from JJ. Where he
JJ reading the last play.
That was
winning the game with
that was in Cameron.
That was in Cameron, though. That was Cameron.
That was in Cameron. It was either
Felton
or Lawson, whichever one it was.
Cameron. Yeah.
Oh, there was one
Duke
where David Noel shot the 3 in the corner. That wasn't from at the Dean Dome.
It could have been the one I'm thinking about.
Blows up the play and steals the ball. Basically, it was I think they 170 in Cameron or something.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah, they knew the play.
Yeah, they knew the play. They knew the play.
They trapped. It was either Felton or Lawson. I can't remember which one, but it was a point guard who was just making a living out of carving Duke up off the dribble. But they knew the play, and it was just Roy had such a better team that year, and then when they did that. But that's a Cameron game. But I'd say
that's a good one. Collins was losing his mind when they set up the out of bounds play. Like it was either him or one of them was just losing their mind because they knew
they recognized it.
They knew what was happening. Yeah, that's a great call.
So that was good. But
JJ did have
for me.
JJ did have 35 in the Dome. Was that his senior year? I think
that was going to be one of mine. That was going to be one of mine.
Yeah.
But John mentioned mine. The 04 game for me was just probably because
that was an overtime game too. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The time of my life that I watched that game, in high school, you're sitting there watching that game in high school.
And I love that team too, man.
Absolutely loved that team, dude. Like I was crushed. I guess that UConn team, right? Like
when the entire front line fouled out.
I wanted, up 8, less than 3 minutes, but whatever. Not. But that team was great, man, and that was such a great game too for the whole sequence for K to just trust his guy and to just take the ball, let Duhan go coast to coast, finish as it gets back. I think it was Rashad McCants that just bricked the 3 after that, and Duke wins it. But that would be it for me. That was a great run too. Right after Dean had just kind of kicked our ass a little bit on his way out, like he kind of throttled us a little bit on the way out the door, and so then it was that was a nice 99 to 04.
I was going to say, didn't we win the ACC
over UNC run? Yeah, that was great over UNC run. Yeah, I think that was Roy's first year too. The Duhan.
Roy was
4
or 5, right?
Did he come 04 or 05?
4, yeah, because he coached the Kansas 03 team.
I wanted to say that the 04 game, the Duhan layup, was Roy's first.
It should have been because Roy left. Did he leave Kansas after the 03 season? Yeah.
Let's see right here if I can.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up.
I will look right now. Roy Williams. Yep, that was it. 2004. So that's it for me.
Yeah, because it had to be, because I was like, there's no way Doherty still had a job at that point. Right?
No. Yeah. So that was
because he had an 8-20 season. Remember?
That was
Doherty's final season, I think.
02, or 03. Yeah,
we lit him up pretty hard in 02.
Because they had
destroyed them. Yeah.
Dean retired. Dean went to the Final Four in '98 when he had, Jameson,
Antoine,
Carter,
and all those guys.
Yeah, had really good team. And then Guthridge took over for 2, maybe 3 seasons, and then Doherty had it for 2 or 3 before they got Roy.
Yeah. So, all right, 2 more fellas. Give me your leading scorer for the game. Who you got?
Boozer.
Yeah, it's hard to go against Boozer. Yeah.
Next.
Although, I want it to be Isaiah. I want to see Isaiah just hit 8 threes, 10 threes,
The Auburn game.
But I've played that on DraftKings every week, and so far,
just to be clear, I'm talking about leading score, for the game, regardless of who wins.
I've learned quick enough that just don't ever bet against.
Just match the cam. Cam.
Yeah.
That's it's pretty good.
Well, how many games has Cam not been Duke's leading scorer this year? 2?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Probably two times.
Yeah.
It's probably just a game it'd be like a game that Duke won in a blowout and Cam played 23 minutes or something. Yeah.
Even then he probably had 20 in 23 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
In theory, Cam could have a 22-point game and Caleb Wilson could have a 24-point game. That could happen for sure.
Sure.
Caleb's averaging 20 points per game, so it's not that far off. But I don't know, man. Just even if Cam has 2 points in the first half, I'm still probably going to predict him to be the leading scorer. Because
after the first game of the season, he wasn't the leading scorer, right? Isaiah had
the answer to the question is 4 games.
4 games.
Yeah,
Texas.
Evans had 23 against Texas. Sarr had 19
Army.
Against Army.
I remember that. Yeah.
Gungba had 17 against Niagara. It's 5 actually. Evans had 28 against Florida State, and then Evans had 21 against SMU.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So a couple kind of fake opponents in there, right? Where the Niagara game, I'm sure Cam plays 21 minutes or something. So
yeah. Yeah. So I want to say Slim too. That would be really all, but only if it's he's at 26 and Cam's at 22. You don't want Slim to be at 17. That's our leading scorer. That's probably not going to go over well. But it's hard to not just mash Cam on this. But I do think with the way the front court is, that he might just have a 17,
Passing.
like 7 assists type of game. Like he might just kind of be spraying and doing some different stuff. I don't
Picking
know.
his spots,
On the other side of thing, he could have a 35-point piece if he's just like 5 of 7 from 3 and like, dude, come out here. It could be that too. So yeah, I'll go. Screw it. I'm going Slim. I'm going Slim too. I'm going Slim. I'm going to say Slim gets a 30 bird in the dome.
Right.
Give it to me. We'll all go to Slim Chickens after that if that happens, right? So give me a Slim for that one. Last one, fellas. We'll get out of here. This is probably the biggest one. Who wins? It's a big one, man. It's a hard one to kind of call because stats, best team, who's the better team coming in? Like it's like, oh yeah, Duke should probably win a good, highly contested. Like this should be a strong back to the like roots of the rivalry, but Duke wins game. On the other side of it, though, they just got 3-pieced by Duke last year. It's been a bit of a long couple years since the Final Four for them. Coming off of that, lots of Caleb. They've been talking. At a certain point, you're not like, are you going to rattle off 4 in a row against them? So I think there is a little counter here. So which one of those wins out for you? You taking Duke, or does Carolina finally get one from us here?
For me, I think the statistics show that the better team wins more often, and I hear you about all the the emotional stuff or the human
it's hard
side,
to match some of that, right? Of like, hey, we can get our ass kicked by these dudes for
but as we pointed out, none of these guys besides Trimble got their ass kicked by us last year. Besides Vessar, who we beat out in Arizona, but to me, I go back to when I asked Cam who he thought the greatest Duke team of all time was, and he said the 25-26 team. So, Cam, if you're listening, go prove it, big boy. Let's see it.
Yeah, there you go.
You guys are on the track. You're on the track, so just keep it up.
This is okay.
So I'll kind of circle back to the beginning of the podcast tonight. We talk about why Duke's underrated. We talk about how Cam Boozer's underrated, right? Right now, the narrative is, well, Carolina's playing great, right? They've won 4 straight. They beat Virginia. I'm looking at Duke. Everyone's kind of acting like Duke is just, maybe it's the recency bias of just a slog against Boston College. But just so we're clear, Duke's last 5 games, they won by 18, they won by 14, they won by 31, 21, 30, at 15. That's the last 2.5 weeks of Duke basketball. Several of those are on the road. At Virginia Tech, they win by 14. At Stanford, they win by 30. At Cal, they win by 15. Beat Wake Forest at home by 21. Beat Boston College by 18 and did not play well. Obviously beat the snot out of Louisville at home on Big Monday. Duke's not playing bad. In fact, I'd say they're probably starting to get to the point where we're trying to figure out what this team's peak is. And I just look at that and I go, to Dustin's point, the stats normally say the better team wins more often than not. And I do think this Duke team is better than Carolina. I think Carolina presents an interesting matchup, but no more so than Florida. In fact, I would say Florida was better than Carolina. And against Florida, Boozer had 30? Or maybe it's 29, but something close. Ridiculous. Against Michigan State, Duke grounded out, and they're a better team than when they played those two teams. So I'm going to go Duke by 6. I may be wrong, but I can certainly see a world where Caleb Wilson and Vessar do well enough, and then just Trimble has like his career, his life achieving goal of having a huge game against Duke, knocking down something.
That's probably the guy that we should have talked about a little bit more as the X factor too, right? Because he could be the super senior guy that comes in and just hey, this is my team.
We've seen that before. Who was it a couple years ago that I can't think of the kid's name, but he was a role player and he just killed Duke.
Cormac Ryan.
Yeah. Just killed Duke.
Notre Dame. Yeah.
To quote Kelly Rowe, I'm not worried about Cormac Ryan.
Yeah.
in our UNC preview.
Well, like I said, rivalry games, crazy things happen. But at the end of the day, if it goes down how it should on paper, I think Duke wins by 6.
I'll take it.
And I'll take that because, for one, as you just pointed out, I mean, what was the knock on us last year? Well, they've been beating the piss out of everybody for 2 months. Of course, when it comes tournament time, they get into a rock fight. It's going to be tough for them. So we need some of these games. We need to be challenged here.
Well, they've been in rock fights this year.
We have, yeah, sure,
yeah. But we need more out there, like too.
We need more, yeah. Which there's one coming up
a little bit. It's been a little bit.
It has been a while. To GP Gary Parrish mentioned that too. Like hey, since December 6th, like it's just Louisville that they've really played. And it's like, how good is Louisville? So I hear that.
Not very.
Not maybe not very. And so you get a chance here to.
You get Michigan in 2 weeks to find out that too.
Yeah, another one too. But yeah,
predicted to be that one's predicted to be a coin flip at this point.
Yeah.
No, I agree with I can't remember which of you said it, but like Duke has, maybe it was John, but Duke has won at Michigan State already. They've won at Louisville, at Tennessee, exactly. Just I know that's an exhibition, but even so, like Tennessee and Michigan State are at least as good as UNC, in my opinion. So, and Michigan State is clearly better by the metrics.
Mm-hmm.
So you would think that they've kind of proven that they can handle a really tough road environment. They passed every test so far, so just, I don't see why, I guess I would say that intellectually speaking, Duke should win this game. It's only the things that you mentioned, Josh, that have me a little bit concerned. Hubert Davis has to know that he cannot get swept by Duke this year, right?
Yeah, you can't.
His job is already precarious enough. Like, I think he's going to do well enough to keep his job. You get a 5 or 6 seed or whatever. But if you're like, a 6 seed and then you
get swept by Duke
and
you lose your one game to State.
Yeah, and then you lose like in the first or second round of the tournament. You might be out.
Yeah. The seat gets incredibly hot there for sure.
Yep.
They got more bulletin board material, I guess is what I was trying to say.
Exactly.
Right? Like, they got the stuff that they can put up there, the 0-3.
They need it more than us in a way.
They got a little bit of that, hungry dog bar like bites, right? Like they got.
Let me ask you guys, did you see the Caleb Wilson? I don't know if it was Instagram or whatever, but the hashtag was
Duke Subs or something like that.
Yeah, but it said streaks. What is streaks? Is that our streak? There were 3. We got 3 wins in a row on them. I didn't understand what the streaks was.
But sure about that either.
All right.
Really. But yeah, maybe it's something to do with that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, fellas. But I'm kind of with y'all. I'm not going to be the lone duck here that probably predicts a UNC win, but I could see how it could get there.
Yeah,
I could see how all of these factors maybe just give them a little bit more there, but I don't know. The Boozers are just robots, and if I'm going to come on here and say that I think Caden's going to also have a really big role and play really well, that's going to then lead me to say that Duke's going to win this game. I actually think we cover. I think we're going to cover the 6. I think we're going to. What is it? KenPom has it 78-72. I think we're going to muck them up a little bit, y'all. I'll say 80-69 Duke. There we go. I'll say something right around there.
I like that. This is going to be the toughest defense they've seen in a while, at least if we play up to
I think it'll be the toughest defense they've seen. I think it will be. I know Michigan State's had some, but I don't know when they played Michigan State, if Michigan State was there. Michigan State's fallen off. Like we're rated higher defensively now than Michigan State is. I know they were 1 for a second, but I don't think they've seen a defense like ours in terms of interior stuff. I just don't have, but
a little bit of late breaking news. Tyus Jones just got traded to Charlotte.
Oh, wow. So
wait, they got Kobe and Tyus Jones
and Mike Conley. Good Lord, what are they?
Yep. They already have like 12 guards.
Wow. So there is maybe we'll do an episode on the follow up or some point because there's been a lot of.
What did they do? Know we need a big man, right?
Charlotte gave him
cash considerations or something.
Cash considerations.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
That's interesting because I thought Charlotte was like, I thought they were kind of in asset accumulation mode, but now they're just taking on guys, and I don't get that. I I don't get it.
Oh, they got 2 picks back from it too.
Oh, okay.
So they got 2 picks. So now it's
Okay, so that makes sense, 'cause
11 first rounders and 13 second rounders over
Yeah,
the
I mean,
next year. So they're
Orlando
gonna
had
be
to get rid of
massive.
him to get under the cap.
Yeah. Okay.
Ah,
Okay. So
yeah.
good move. Yeah. I mean, that's
Yeah.
been how Charlotte's operating the last few years. Ever since Jordan sold the team, their new ownership is just on point, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The moral of that story may be Dan Favale, if you were listening, we are yet again going to be reaching out to you at some point to do an NBA podcast.
Every year, I feel worse about
Yeah.
bugging him.
Yeah. So
At least it won't be another Jason Tatum conversation, right? Like
that's true.
the
Yeah, we'll have
first
some
3 years
different-
we had him on, I was like, why is Jason Tatum so underrated or hated by the it's like,
Yeah. We'll
Oh,
be able
now
to-
speaking of, I don't know, it wasn't a big talking point. Did you guys like the yellow Tatum shoes we wore in the Boston College game?
No,
Did you notice? Yeah, the highlighters.
I was not a fan, but
Yeah, I'm not like I didn't really. I was kind of indifferent a little bit to it, right? Like it's not my favorite shoes that we have, like for sure.
I just thought it was odd. We haven't seen everybody wear them, right? And not even just the players. Like if you saw on the bench, the coaches, even the second row coaches.
It was more about saying, "Hey, look, Jason Tatum is our CBO."
yeah,
Sure. I get that. Yeah.
Thank
That's
God
cool.
they didn't wear them with the battleship gray uniforms.
Mm.
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah.
God, that would have been horrible.
I will say that this group has kind of pushed some buttons on jerseys this year, y'all. Like we wore the Brotherhood
blacks.
aways in
Yeah.
Cameron, and we wore the blacks in Cameron so far.
I remember
So,
Krzyzewski used to be real big on everyone had to wear the same color shoes and all that kind of stuff. And just, this year, I mean, you look down, kids are wearing pink, green, yellow, red. I mean, just all kinds of different colors. And I'm going, yeah, maybe it's just me. It's just
Krzyzewski
well,
also
knock on
wouldn't
wood,
let you have
but,
a beard or anything
we've
like that.
Semi gotten away a little bit from some of the
he used to not
left
let you have
injuries,
tattoos until I
so-
think Jason Williams was the first one with a tattoo that everyone could see with the ram on his arm.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
nice.
25 years ago. So
Yeah,
useless
26
facts.
years ago.
Anyway,
No head.
All right, yeah, all right, fellas. Well, I think we're all in the semi same headspace with this. That the intellectual part of it. Whoever said that, Duke probably should win this game. However, it's on the road, and they have motivation and they got something coming. So I think
And
it should be
they're
really
a good team too.
They're a good team.
And they haven't
they're
they haven't
good
lost
this
Yeah.
they haven't lost at home this year.
Yep.
Yeah, they're undefeated at home too. So that there's some stuff here to get hype about. I'm ready to go.
Yep.
Right. So let's do this. But anyway, we'll get out of here. Appreciate you all. Please rate, review, subscribe. You can email us at TheDevilsDen@gmail.com. You can find us on X/Twitter at DevilsDenPod247. You can find us over at the board, TheDevilsDen.com. And keep the faces strong and the verve high. Go to Hill Carolina. Go Duke.